you mentioned, let's draw a clear line in the sand right now. Let's revisit these in a year's time. Let's do some rapid fire for no other reason than it's fun. Who's your starting goalkeeper on June 12th, 2026?
I would go Dane St. Clair. I think he has the faith of Jesse Marsch, and I don't think he gives that up.
Interesting. I'm gonna go right into the overreaction. I'm gonna go Maxime Crepeau just because now what we've seen that he's done at Copa America, I think he's at an age where for goalkeepers where he'll still have every shot. I think Crepeau he'll figure out his club situation. That's for me the big asterisk.
I loved watching one of the very few highlights from last night was watching Max Crepeau on the sidelines, first in the referee's face, first to console teammates, right? This guy is a warrior, a leader. And while he might not offer the high-end athleticism that Dane St. Clair does, we talk about intangibles. Man, he's the heartbeat of this team in a lot of ways. Who's starting at center back beside Moise Bombito?
Luke DeFougerolles.
Oh, baby.
I like it. I'll go Derek Cornelius. Ben and I we're going contrary on this, so someone will be right and some will be wrong.
Yeah, I think Derek Cornelius is in store for another big club season, and I don't know yet what DeFougerolles' club situation will look like for next year. I think that's a little bit up in the air. I don't, without going into some of the reporting that's been done, but I think there's a little bit up in the air, and I think Derek Cornelius offers some stability just in terms of his club game. Who's starting besides Stefan Eustáquio in the middle of the park?
I'm gonna go with Nathan Saliba. He'll settle at Anderlecht.
I like that. I'm gonna go Nico Seeger just because I think that sixth position, and then I think Ismail Kone will potentially start, but I just see a future where, again, when it all clicks for him, I just see him being tried out at that number 10. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, Nico Seeger is in a lot of ways the future of this team. We already did forward. That's kind of boring. Is Jacob Schaffelberg a starter on June 12th, 2026?
Not a chance. Not after what he did in that match. And his form with Nashville.
What he did. You sound like a dad already, what you did. Wow. Steiner. Okay. Alex?
I'm going no because I've said it for a while now. I think it's going to be Ali Ahmed. I think just with Ali Ahmed, he brings 8 tendencies, winger-like skills. He's pressed, like he's just a Jesse Marsch player, and I think he's just so complete that you saw him with him out, kind of missed something there.
Okay, last one, and I'm just taking over here. Putting you guys on the spot. I have legitimately wrestled with this, and it bears no actual consequence other than being fun podcast fodder. Who will be a more important player for Canada in 2026, Moise Bombito or Jonathan David?
I think this team lives and dies with Jonathan David, because if he doesn't score, we don't know who will.
I like that. I would agree, but I'm going to go Moise Bombito. Like, it's just wild for me that in 12 months, he's gone from unknown with 1 or 3 caps all in the midfield under John Herdman, and now he might be the most important player on this team. Like, the way when he's on the field, the high line, his leadership already at a young age, he's got the ceiling. Like, I could legitimately seeing him play for a top 5 club in the world in the next 2 years. For me, it's Moise Bombito.
I think the coaching staff feel the same way about Moise Bombito's ceiling, as if it's not like we need their validation. Anybody that watches him can see that, but I just keep coming back to, we talked about it before, that game against Belgium, the World Cup opener. If Moise Bombito, as Moise Bombito is now, is playing on that Canadian side, Belgium probably doesn't get that goal, and maybe Canada gets out 0-0, and they take a different approach maybe against Croatia, and we're having a very different conversation, right? In tournaments, preventing goals and getting out with a draw can sometimes be the difference between a team getting out of the group. I can't believe we're talking about Canada getting out of the group, but that can be the difference. Yes, Jonathan David is going to be remarkably important, but to stifle the other team's opposition, to be able to get out with a clean sheet, that could be the difference in a tournament. And I go back and forth, so I'm not going to choose. You guys chose for me, and that's fantastic.
And I'll throw one right back at you before we wrap up
Oh,
this
Let's
segment here.
go.
Canada plays, of course, three games in the group stage. If they win the group, they could play 2 at home. Where does Canada finish in the group, and what did their results look like? Of course, we don't know the opponents yet.
You're throwing this complete curveball at me. Like I'm trying to swing at a curveball blind here with this question. They finish second in their group, and I have zero basis for saying that. It's right now. That's just vibes only. I'm not panicking, so I'm going on vibes here, and I'm saying second in their group. And again, I have zero reason to say that.
Alex.
All I'll say, lost in context, the World Cup next year is not going to look like typical World Cup. Third place teams can go through, as we've seen at Euros and other tournaments like that. It throws a wrench. All of a sudden, Canada could draw 3 games next year, and that still might be enough to get through. So I think they're going to reach a knockout stage, and then I think from there, that's going to be contextual. As are they playing at home? Who are they playing? Is the luck of the draw going to have them versus France in a round of 32, or is it going to have you versus, some team like I don't know, a South American team that's not one of the big 5? So I think I'll go they make it out the group, and they at least get to play one knockout game.